Well, welcome to another episode of Partner 5 and 5. Robert here at Egnyte Solutions. Bring Procore Integration Partners into the light, I guess we could say. And today we've got Kevin from Egnyte. How you doing, Kevin?
Hi, Robert. I'm doing well. Glad to be here.
Fantastic. Good to have you here. So usual format, but in case anyone hasn't seen this before, we're sort of really trying to showcase Procore Partners best in breed and casual format. So 5 questions in 5 minutes, or at least as close as we can keep to 5 minutes. So Kevin, you're going to talk about Egnyte today. We're going to jump in with the first question, which is really, I think, the important one, especially for customers wanting to get to understand what you guys do is, if we think about construction, what problems is the product trying to solve for?
Yeah, with Egnyte, we've got some really good deep focus on AEC. So, of course, I help run our AEC strategy in our segment. But some of the things that really drive AEC firms to Egnyte is the ability to not necessarily only have cloud storage in your files, but able to have it cached in various locations. So fast speed to almost any file.
Okay, fantastic. So we're talking about document storage and connecting that with Procore. And obviously, Procore comes with some document sort of management, but obviously there's a point of difference for Egnyte. What's that?
Right. So with Egnyte, it's not just so much about your files and folders in the cloud, but there's a whole gamut, if you will, spectrum of different governance or security features that go along, whether it's making sure your project is done and it's retained in one place for a period of time, or that you have full auditability on like who's accessing it, who's downloading it, and things of that nature.
Okay, fantastic. And we work with a range of different clients. Obviously, being Procore specialists, a lot of builders or GCs, you might call them, but we also work with a lot of subcontractors and owners and developers as well. So if we kind of think about the companies that use Egnyte today in construction, what type of companies is it are most attracted or getting the most benefit from it? And then if we look inside of one of those companies, what roles and positions inside those construction businesses tend to be using Egnyte the most and getting the most benefit from it?
Right. So, our customer mix is interesting. When we say A, E, and C, we do actually quite have a fair balance of those, including owner developers. And so, yes, AEC is a business unit for us, but we do have nuanced messaging and even specialists for all 3 of those subsegments, A and E and a C. And then as we talk, about typical Egnyte users and customers, there's a couple of interesting pieces where Procore is very much operational and project focused. We'll also have a play in that, but we also do talk a lot to our IT counterparts, CIOs, directors of IT, VPs, and because it is cloud infrastructure underneath it, but there are now more and more features with integration with Procore, for example, or other things around just document control for your project that enhance or augment what Procore does. Oh, your audio went out.
Sorry, there it is. Tech people have tech issues. So I literally got off a call just a moment ago with someone who was talking about this very matter. One of the things I wanted to highlight on the call with you today is obviously when we think Procore, we think project delivery. So we're very project focused. But of course, although there is a huge amount of documentation in a construction project, regardless of your role, obviously there's still a business behind that as well. And there's a lot of documentation storage that needs to be managed beyond the project, looking at the total business. So I imagine you guys kind of solve for that as well.
Right. Yeah, we do sort of. We have a very great sort of theme, if you will, around unify all your data. So clearly, project delivery is going to be a big part of that. But then there are a lot of activity before the project, maybe in design, maybe in pre-con, and even after when you're doing a handoff. And so Egnyte has been in a position where it's been sort of pervasive through the entire life cycle, and then including your back office things, HR, accounting. Things where maybe you have sensitive information in those groups that also can benefit from our governance capabilities.
Yeah, fantastic. And one of the other things on the call that I had before was this company happens to be a building company. They work a lot of remote projects as well. So traditionally they've been actually doing on-site project-based servers. So would it address something like that as well?
Right. So that is another big reason for why Egnyte is very attractive, especially for builders, is the ability to, as I mentioned, for caching your files, whether it is at a job site or your laptop or at an office. We actually provide a hybrid approach where you could be in the cloud because speed is great. But if you're in the remote areas where you might have less bandwidth, yes, we have a caching deployment option or a small appliance that does very well for those.
Excellent. Well, let's get in the Procore path a little bit more specifically. So let's pretend I'm an owner or a building company, and I have Procore already. So obviously Procore comes standard with some document management, but I'm looking at that and I'm needing a bit more, and I'm working with Egnyte. So when I have those two products, so Procore and Egnyte, what's the integration points, and how do they work together, and how does that benefit me?
Right. So, our integration is a two-way real-time sync, and it does look at the documents module. And,
Yep.
some of the big use cases for that is a lot of builders like their desktop experience,
Yes, they do.
their map drive.
Yes.
And if they're dealing with CAD files or Revit files, there's the file locking and sort of making sure your XREFs are all in sync. And we support all of that. And so it's again a combination of the best of both worlds. We're in
Sure.
Procore, you're in the web. But if you have a lot of builders that love their M drive or P drive, what have you, they love that ability to file lock on certain files.
Yeah.
And then we bridge that gap. So that's a really great relationship
and that's definitely something that's consistent when I speak to our customers. It's great to know that that documentation is in Procore or Egnyte or both. But there's a certain comfort being able to open File Explorer, obviously if you're on Windows, and see those files there and open them direct. It is a huge thing. I think it's a bit of a legacy kind of thing, but I think it's there to stay, and it does provide a certain level of comfort. It's almost like, well, I can touch and feel them if they're on my computer.
Right.
So that makes a lot of sense. And look, obviously, from an architecture perspective, Procore has documents still in every project, but they also have company level documents. Do you guys connect with those?
Actually,
I wasn't sure on that one.
We just released our newest version of an API, so I think there were some more additional openings for us in terms of the gateway or the Procore gateways. I don't actually have a good answer for you.
That's fine. We can add it afterwards. But from what I understand, I think it might. But we'll check that one, because we're finding a lot of companies also, again, project specific documentation, but there's also a company sort of document kind of spot in Procore as well.
We have seen where you can have links, Egnyte driven links in Procore modules.
Fantastic. Right. Sounds great. Let's move on to the next question. We are chewing through a bit of time, but let's talk about it makes sense. I go with Egnyte. I've got Procore, but specific to Egnyte, what's the process of coming on board with Egnyte in terms of the implementation, the rollout, and then ongoing customer support?
Right. So lots of different ways, but there's the free trial option. There's a website. We can share the link with you to sign up for a trial.
Sure.
There's also the guided opportunities with talking to someone on my team or from our sales team to help make sure that we're actually bringing forth the features that really matter to you most. As you might look at Egnyte's website, there's lots of features that does lots of things. And so making sure we're doing the right things for your use cases is critical.
Yeah, fantastic. All right. And then, once we're up and running, customer support's all part of the process, I assume?
Right. 24/7 supports. Someone will answer the phone on a Sunday at 5 a.m. Yeah, we will be there.
Fantastic. All right. Don't envy the support agents, but it's really good to know that's there. Final question, which we're always curious about. We love seeing product develop. So is there anything that you can speak to? So let's say in the next sort of 3, 6, even 12 months timeline with Egnyte, that's that you're looking at developing or adding features or functionality that'll help those in construction.
Right. Yeah, I think there's the partnership with Procore has certainly opened our eyes to where we can do or enhance more. And I would kind of characterize a lot of the things that we're looking at as project folder control.
Yeah.
So we're not going to be generating the information. That's Procore. That's a project delivery system. But in the sense that once your project is done, have you severed all the shared links? Have you removed all your outside users? Project folder control. So we want to really bring forth more of those features, which are kind of mundane or maybe gets lost in administration, but never gets done. And sometimes can come back to bite you in the worst way possible. And so we're trying to help streamline, automate those things.
Yeah. I think that, it's a really strong feature. I guess, as you kind of said, to put it in a different way, it's not a really sexy feature, but it's a really important one. We do find a lot of people, documentation, financials as well, they kind of finish a project, huge sigh of relief. It's been a big effort for 6 months, 2 years, who knows how long. And then that sort of closeout process and security kind of gets forgotten about. And they're on to the next project. So things like that are really good. And obviously I imagine that you guys are sort of, working closer and closer with Procore to sort of bring more of that alignment between the two products.
Example probably in the closeout, because we're synced with Procore and everything ends up longer term in Egnyte, then there's we have examples of customer when they have litigation, which happens quite often, right?
Yeah,
it's like
it does.
The ops team is very comfortable just handing the Egnyte folder link to their legal. because
Right.
they are very comfortable that already everything's in one place and they're not having to
Fantastic.
reconstitute everything. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like a really good solution overall. We have tipped over our 5 minutes, so we're probably going to wrap up there. But Kevin, I really appreciate your time, and look forward to sharing more information about Egnyte and using it together with Procore. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Robert, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Cheers, Kevin.
Thank you.